Hello, I'm Heather,
I'm Cardyn.
and welcome to the Bitchy Quill, a podcast where we talk about publishing from a feminist perspective. We also do guest mini interviews, and today we have author Ivy Quinn. Welcome.
Hi,
Welcome,
thanks.
welcome. How are you today?
Good. It's nice weather here in Maryland. So it's been good.
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
I see you've got the Northern Lights behind you.
Yeah, it's mostly because I don't have like a real office, so
Uh-huh.
I do a lot of it's like propped up in bed. I was like, okay, Northern Lights feel
You're
marginally
you're
more
taking us
professional.
on a journey. You've got the lit up thing. I feel like we're in an episode of now I'm gonna space out on the name of it. The 1980s flavored show with the kids and the Gorgon and the upside down.
Stranger
Oh,
Things.
Stranger
Stranger Things.
Things.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's given a little bit of Stranger Things vibe, even though they didn't have these kinds of headsets back then, but it's giving me that vibe. Um,
Sure.
so all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let Cardin kick it off with the first question.
Yes, Ivy Quinn. How did we meet you?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I did go to the just as a spectator, right when Book Festival a couple years ago. But then I was supposed to be a booth at it this year, but had a lot of health issues. But we sort of bumped in more like officially, I guess, um, at the queer writers thing or the queer writers panel at the Marietta House, and so got a little bit more into your podcast side of stuff with that. So
So your
You were a
first
really good
introduction,
sport because we drafted you. You
yeah.
were
yeah,
you
no,
were
it was
something to
really
enjoy.
I
We're like,
enjoyed it.
oh,
I
you're
enjoyed
great
it.
for the panel. Come on.
So for
Yeah.
context, we Card and I and Dana Ridenauer, who does editing as I always say it wrong. I always say
Your
my
publishing
my
BFF.
BFF. My BFF,
Your
but it's
publishing.
your publishing BFF. We were supposed to have a LGBTQIA plus like publishing panel for people, and then it's been very hard. Mary has, at a whatever reason, I wonder what it could be. People don't want to go out and do things right now. So we had a very hard time. Normally our stuff that we do at Marietta is packed. It's 30 people. Um, we had a very hard time getting a group together, and Ivy was the one person who showed up. And so we drafted her onto the panel with us, and I have recorded that. I do have to edit it a little bit. I had to take it down because I have to edit it a little bit and then I'll put it back up again. But
Amazing.
the yeah, I said some things wrong about the way things were structured. So I just have to edit that one little bit out and then put it back up. But you were very gracious to join us, and you had so much good
Yes.
information about writing and publishing, especially in the queer space and stuff. So thank you very much for doing
Yeah.
that. You were such a good
It's my
sport.
pleasure. Yeah.
So that was our like you were in our we were all in the same space a couple years ago apparently, but as I tell other people, Cardin and I often get very overwhelmed on the day of the festival, and even when we meet people, sometimes we can't remember that. George is like, I feel like my light's a little too hot, so I'm going to turn that down a little bit. Boy, oh boy. Okay. Um, but okay, so that's how we met. Now I'm going to ask you the thing that I like to ask every author that comes on here, as a writer and as a reader. And I think a lot of readers always want to ask this question to writers. I think a lot of writers get this question, which is, what made you want to be a writer?
Um, well, I always was someone who would tell herself stories on like the playground or just trying to make herself fall asleep. And no tea, no shade. By the time I was like, I guess in middle school and definitely in high school, it was not the complete infancy of the internet, but it's like late 90s, early 2000s. So basically the GeoCities internet. So I was a lot of fan fiction writing for one fandom that will remain nameless because I was really bad because I was like 16 and I'm super glad GeoCities died. But eventually in college that led to LiveJournal and Buffy stuff. And then after that, some LiveJournal and AO3 with Smallville and Lucifer. And for a while after that, I got into ghostwriting. And basically I enjoyed writing, but I always thought it wasn't something necessarily I should focus on as like something with originals because my original track was in psychology and science heavy and trying to do, air quotes, a real job. But I guess the first place was I was just always interested in stories. And then fan fiction is definitely a gateway drug for that kind of thing.
So from Buffy fanfic to ghost writing, not writing
Yeah.
about ghosts.
Yes, yes, yes.
Just to be
That's a good
clear.
clarification. Yeah.
Okay. So when was your first published piece then?
Well, it sort of has varied a bit. I had a couple of books in box sets a little bit ago because I've been going through graduate school first in one program and then COVID hit and then back to school for professional writing. But in 2018, I was part of two different box sets, and one was called Once Upon a Revel Fairy Tale. It was a novella that was a noir update of the Golden Stag fairy tale. And then the other one was for a box set called Sirens and Scales, and it involved either mermaids or dragons. And my wife, who we were just dating at the time, we co-wrote a novel for it called Frozen Ashes and Scattered Shards. And so we had that, and it was in the collection. We have meant to, and we wanted to go back and re-edit it, update it a little bit, flesh it out a bit more, and republish it as just its own thing. It's been hard to sort of get that time together. So that's sort of where it's been. And then I'm currently working on some things that I'm trying to independently publish in the summer.
Okay, awesome. I think that writers' origin stories are always interesting. It's like, either you feel like you are born to do it, or there's just some later. I know some people have a subject they want to write about, and or they have a subject they feel is important to talk about, or a story that they have inside of them, and the best way for them to do it is through writing. So sometimes I think people aren't necessarily feeling like they're born to write, but they that's how they want to tell their story. And then there's other people. A lot of the writers that we have interviewed are like, I've been writing since I was 6, that kind of thing. So I think that you sound like you're one of those. Like,
Yeah.
from
It
the
was just
get-go,
more
I want to tell stories. I want to write stories. So
it's more their parents were like, well, you need a real job, but haha, it's 2025 and in this economy, nothing's a real job. So it's all more of the same. Just do what you want to do.
Yeah.
right, right. I think I read one of the somebody had written or tweeted or whatever. Nothing really matters anymore. You might as well pronounce the L in salmon.
Yeah, totally. It was like, well, if I can
So
be poor
now,
and be doing something else more seriously that I like, so I can, or as much as just doing
Right.
the
yeah,
regular stuff, so might
Yeah.
as well. It's not going
Yeah.
to change the
yeah.
financial fortunes all that much.
No. No. But so when you're talking about kind of your evolution of um, like the live journal and all that, do you have a memory of like something that clicked that said that expanded you beyond thinking, oh, writing's not a real job, and kind of making that transition? Was there a particular thing that happened, or maybe some experience or a writer that influenced you to kind of expand from thinking that you couldn't pursue it?
I think it was more because I was sort of in between like full-time work, and this was like in 2014. And
Mhm.
a friend of mine who I'd worked with on a nonprofit was a journalist by trade, and so she had gotten me to like look at Odesk, which became Upwork,
Gotcha.
mergers and mergers.
Right, right.
But she's like, I make money doing, ghostwriting articles and like SEO kind of things. But she's like, they
Yes.
have fiction writers, and she had read of All Embarrassing Things, My Small Wolf Handbook, and she
Yeah.
was like, you do pretty well. You could write, you know, romance fanfic or like romance like shorts and like
Yes,
ghostwritten
yes.
novellas and things. And that's what I did it. And then I did that because it helped pay at least my medical and some of my like just I need food or whatever
Yes,
gas
yes, yes.
expenses when I was doing my master's in human resources. Anyway, I was like, if I've done this for like 4 years with these novellas and someone's paying me good enough to do it, then
Yeah.
I could try doing it for myself because at least there's no middleman, or I get to like
Right, right,
use my
right,
own
right.
name and write what I want to write.
Yes.
So
Oh, that's excellent. And so over time, are there particular authors that you read that you felt like, oh, they see me, or I'm inspired by them, or is
yeah, I think it's more like some of the ones I was inspired by when I was younger, like ones
Mhm.
that you read when you're like in middle and high school and you're like, I would love to do this, even though I know it's not feasible. But I'd say it's a mix of, and they're not going to be mostly ones you would think of because it
Right.
was like Catherine Applegate or K.A. Applegate, who wrote the Animorphs books, because a lot of the
Oh,
paranormal or urban fantasy books I
yeah.
deal with like change of forms and curses and things where it's
Mhm.
like, what is
Mhm.
that liminal space of being human, which kind of really started with that book series when I was like 11. And because I also write not just urban fantasy, but I do horror,
Okay.
that a lot of Clive Barker, when I was in high school, I discovered his Books of Blood series
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
books, which is anthology tales. But a lot of my, even in Frozen Ashes, it's a part of it's like a mystical plague from like contaminated dragon eggs because humans aren't supposed to be around them. So there's a lot of visceral details of how the plague like affects you and like things that pull out
Yeah.
of your eyes. So I think that part. And then I read a lot of Anne Rice, and I started Anne Rice when I was like 10. My mom
Okay.
knew. She's like, "Oh, read the
Right.
Vampire Chronicles."
Yeah.
I loved it when I in the 70s. I'm like, okay. And people would ask me at school, they're like, "Does your mother know?" She's like, "She bought it for me."
Right.
But the sort of uh mix of like paranormal and horror, but like sensuality in Anne Rice,
Yes.
I really
Yes.
responded to early. I actually of the books in that series of like the original five up through Mimnock the Devil and Tale of the Body Thief and stuff. I actually really like The Queen of the Damned because I like the scope of it.
Mm-hmm.
Where you just have just everything that's happening and all the
Yes.
different tales, the different
Yes.
vampires. So I don't necessarily write that kind of epic level in scope yet, but I do appreciate that it felt grounded and real because of the history and all the different depths of the lore for the characters.
Yeah.
So yeah, Anne Rice, Clive Barker, and K.A. Applegate is all
Nice.
things. Yeah.
Nice.
So if somebody were to want to start somewhere with your books, what would be the first book you would want them to read?
Mm.
Well, again, in that reissuing slash the one I'm working on now is coming out in the summer. Unfortunately, they can't right now, so that's harsh. But what you can do is I do have an Instagram, so I work on that. And so I am posting right now little bit by little bit as I'm going, starting to do like reviews of other books so you get a flair for my style with that. And I'm also an editor, but for right now, as I've been building that side up, eventually there'll be a publishing branch of the same website, but we do podcasting as well. So if you want to get take for my feelings on things like popular culture right now, the Other Lands editing podcasts where Ivy Quinn is one of the people under my real name, but same idea. Um, we talk a lot about different films and things that inspire us. So we've talked about like this summer, like Superman or like The Electric State. So get a lot of my takes on that. So hopefully this summer everything will finally be out and I'll work eventually on our Dragon Story re-release with my wife since we've had, time to finally get on the same page with stuff in our careers and have some day job stuff that's settled down. But that's the long answer of soon, but not yet.
Gotcha. Okay. So you've already covered my question, which is what is your current project? So we could move on to to
Well,
Cardyn's
technically,
next
the
question.
current project is well, I am working on
Yeah.
eventually re-editing
Oh,
the book we had come out with, but the current project I'm working on that hopefully now that I don't have a million medical things is called The Keening, and it's a story about sort of one of those basically an actress on something similar to Euphoria, where like, she has a bad car accident, it's a DUI, so she's recovering and she has to take any job she can take. So she ends up signing up for this cheesy, charmed like paranormal show on like an eighth tier streamer shooting in South Carolina. And while she's there, she starts seeing a ghost haunting the set because she realizes she has um medium precogn like psychic abilities that she didn't have before her accident. And she's gonna write it off, but she discovers her co-star can also see it. So it's kind of like trying to solve that ghost problem and have the ghost get offset by making him pass on, go and find his, into the light moment. So it's a lot of her and her co-star working through, the ghost whisperer thing when they really don't want that to be happening and they just want to focus on their job. So, but I'm
okay.
working
That
on
sounds
that and hopefully out in June.
And will
really
that have
cool.
a romantic element?
It is an urban fantasy and it does
Okay.
braid three things together.
Okay.
But there is sort of, if it was fan fiction, I'd say like pre-relationship.
Yeah.
The two of the three leads of the book are the heroine, who's the actress,
Hmm.
and her co-star is actually like is 16. And so it's
Okay.
her dad. And so the
Okay.
heroine and the dad of the 16-year-old co-star end
Gotcha.
up sort of having sparks. So yeah.
Nice. Oh, I like it. Well, you've hooked me, so just let
Yeah.
us know. Just let us know.
Yeah, definitely. No, I'm finishing the second set of revisions and then sending it to I had a good thing. My wife, who's an editor as well, and so I'll get
Nice.
honesty, but and I know she's really good, but it'll also be like, okay, it'll be honest. So
Okay. All right.
yeah.
That's good. And then you don't have to go very far to get that opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, very true. So he'll help me get hopefully to the third and fourth drafts as I go and get it ready. So yeah, but coming
Nice.
hopefully in June.
Nice. All right. So with all that said, with and you have a lot of experience both as an author and with services and whatnot, but are there the kind of like top three things that you would wish readers or would-be readers of your work would do to support you? Like,
Me,
where's your stuff
yeah.
available and things like that? And
Yeah, for right now, like I said, and I'll give you links for show notes or whatever, but Instagram, where I'm Ivy Quinn there because you're able to like follow and see where
yeah,
I'm gonna be or people I'll interview because we go to different, it's Maryland, there's so many book festivals and just like
yeah,
get like to talk to other authors and,
yeah,
socialize and have fun.
yeah.
The podcast, which is you can find at Spotify, Otherlands Editing
Okay.
Podcast, and then our site, Otherlands Editing, which eventually, again, my book's ready. I'll sort of have like a little
Yes.
publishing
Yeah.
side of it, but yeah, I get a feeling for who I am and that kind of stuff from some of the material of
Excellent.
both that and the podcast. So,
Outstanding.
And reviews, of course.
oh yeah,
Leaving
totally.
reviews. That's
Yeah.
like we just want everybody to please leave a nice review for the authors
Mhm.
because it's important and books make lovely gifts. I just so
They
try to say
do.
that on
Trying to instill like love of reading in people. My university program is basically aimed at professional writing, but with an aim towards teaching like college level writing. And
Mhm.
right now that's difficult to people to want to like take time and do the reading and the thinking for themselves. So books are
Right.
great. They make great gifts. Read.
Yes. And unique, especially from a author that's in your area or one that you could meet or one that you can order directly
Yeah.
Or
from.
someone can
Um,
sign.
those
Yeah,
all
totally.
those
Yeah.
all make a difference.
Yeah.
And we will, of course, put Ivy Quinn's and Otherland's information down in the uh, episode information. So,
Yeah.
well, thank
Yeah.
you so much for being with us. Did you have anything else you wanted to share? We
No,
just
I really appreciate it. It's really sweet
okay.
of y'all to have me on for the little mini-sode. It's very nice.
Yes, I told and we've been telling everybody this. We didn't I don't think we told you this before we started recording, but we've been telling everybody else this before we started recording is that a lot of times mini-sodes are 5 to 10 minutes, but we're like
We're too
15
chatty.
is as short as we can
We're too
do that.
chatty. We're too nosy.
Yeah,
We're like
we're nosy and chatty. That's right. I think that's the best way to put
No,
it.
the making it too long struggle is real. I understand completely.
I mean, maybe it was just one of us, but absolutely 15
the two
minutes
of
is
us
the
together. We're like,
minimum.
oh, she said this. You want to like?
Lord, don't get us on a tangent because then
No.
it's a 25 minute or so. Well, thank you so much. Cardyn's going to take us on out.
Yes. So thank you again, Ivy Quinn. And thank you to the audience for joining us on the Bitchy Quill. Please look for more episodes where we discuss publishing from a feminist perspective and our guest minisodes here on YouTube. If you'd like to be a guest on the Bitchy Quill, please email us at therightwomenbookfest@gmail.com. Info will be below in the episode information.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ivy. We appreciate having you on. Bye.
Bye.